The academy courtyard buzzed with the chatter of young cadets. It was Pet Introduction Day, one of the more unusual traditions at the Galactic Intercultural Academy, where cadets from 100 different species learned to work together. The purpose was simple, or so the instructors said. Each cadet was to bring a pet, an animal companion from their homeworld. It was supposed to foster trust, companionship, and empathy between species. But the rules were strict. The pet must be harmless. The pet must be manageable in size. The pet must demonstrate companionship rather than danger. Cadets paraded in with their small, often timid creatures. The Drashik brought glowing crystal worms that sang in ultrasonic frequencies. The Karani displayed feathered flyers no larger than a handspan, fluttering in bursts of color. Even the hulking Gorlith warriors, whose claws could tear through plasteel, carried tiny docile amphibians in shallow bowls of water. And then there was him, Jared Cole, one of the few humans at the academy. He had been quiet since arrival, observant, polite, and difficult to read. Most cadets didn't know much about Earth or humans beyond fragmented reports. Adaptable primates, surprisingly resilient, with a dangerous history. The instructors had stressed to the human particularly. Harmless, Cadet Cole. The entire point is harmless. You are not to bring anything that will frighten your peers. So when Jared walked into the courtyard with a large crate on a grav sled, smiling with the easy confidence that unsettled so many species, everyone leaned in with curiosity. He tapped the side of the crate, and the lid hissed open. Tumbled 3 cubs. Not timid, not harmless. These were sleek, muscled creatures with teeth already sharp enough to shear through bone. Their coats shimmered in patterned streaks, tails lashing with playful menace. The courtyard fell silent, except for the deep-throated growls that vibrated from the cubs' throats. The Drashik nearest fainted outright. The Karani flyers took off in a panicked cloud. Even the Gorlith warriors took a step back, claws flexing in unease. "What are those?" Instructor Vera demanded, voice trembling. Jared knelt down as one of the cubs bounded up, knocking him flat with enthusiastic force. He laughed, scratching the beast behind its ear as though it were a harmless puppy. "These," Jared said, grinning. "Oh, they're just wolf-lion cubs. Apex predators from Earth. Don't worry. They're only dangerous if you threaten me." Middle. Chaos followed. The instructors nearly cancelled the entire exercise on the spot. The cubs were large, already the size of small ponies and growing fast. Their teeth gleamed like ivory daggers, and their eyes glowed with the primal awareness of hunters. "Remove them at once," Vera barked. "This violates every regulation." But before Jared could respond, the cubs did something unexpected. They padded over to the nearest cadet, a timid insectoid from Thrix Prime, and instead of attacking they sat. One tilted its head, chuffing a soft sound, and gently nudged the cadet's arm. The insectoid trembled, then cautiously reached out a limb. The cub purred like rolling thunder. "See," Jared said, spreading his hands innocently. "They're social animals. Pack-oriented. They just want to be part of the group." The cadets whispered among themselves, both fear and fascination mingling in equal measure. Still, the instructors were unconvinced. Jared was called into a disciplinary chamber, cubs locked in an energy enclosure. "You were instructed to bring harmless creatures," Vera snapped. "These are not harmless. Do you understand what apex predator means?" Jared leaned back in his chair, unbothered. "Of course. But you also said the pets must demonstrate companionship. And nothing demonstrates companionship like a predator who chooses not to eat you." Murmurs rippled among the faculty. The human's logic was unnerving, but not entirely without merit. "You are placing every cadet at risk," Vera said firmly. Jared shook his head. "No. I raised them from the moment they opened their eyes. They've imprinted on me. To them I'm family. That means anyone I protect, they protect. If you think about it, they're the safest creatures here. Because they'll die before letting harm come to their pack." The instructors didn't like it, but they had little choice. The academy had been founded on cultural exchange, and outright banning the cubs would send the wrong message. Jared was permitted to keep them, under heavy supervision. And so, the academy adapted. At first, fear lingered. Cadets gave the cubs wide berth, scurrying out of the courtyard whenever Jared appeared. But over time something shifted. The cubs, who Jared called Fong, Ember, and Shadow, proved playful, intelligent, and startlingly protective. When a group of cadets mocked the shy insectoid again, Fong positioned himself between them and growled low, forcing the bullies to retreat. When Ember saw a cadet trip during drills, she darted forward to nudge him back to his feet, tail wagging. Shadow once dragged an entire stolen ration crate back to the kitchen, sitting smugly until someone praised him. Slowly, the other cadets began to approach. First with hesitation, then with wonder. The cubs would sniff them, accept cautious pats, and roll over for belly rubs. What had been terrifying slowly became cherished. The academy halls began to echo with laughter whenever Fong bowled Jared over, or when Ember stole someone's datapad and trotted around proudly. Even Vera admitted, grudgingly, that discipline hadn't declined. In fact, it had improved, because no one wanted to disappoint the cubs. But the true test came during the mid-year training exercise. The cadets were deployed in squads to a simulated outpost, meant to endure staged raids from academy drones. It was routine, meant to test strategy, teamwork, and calm under pressure. Except something went wrong. Midway through the exercise, the drones malfunctioned. Instead of stun blasts and mock assaults, they switched to lethal mode. Plasma shots tore through the outpost walls, and cadets scattered in panic. Instructor Vera screamed over comms, trying to override the drones, but the system wasn't responding. And then the cubs moved. The moment the first plasma bolt sizzled past Jared, Fong roared, a sound that shook the ground. The three cubs launched into action. Shadow barreled into a drone, tearing it from the air with jaws that crushed steel. Ember darted between cadets, shielding them with her bulk, snarling at the machines. Fong leapt onto a turret, ripping it free with raw power. The cadets froze, stunned by the sight. These were not harmless pets. These were guardians. Fearsome, loyal, unstoppable. "Stay behind them," Jared shouted. "They'll hold the line." For nearly an hour the cubs fought. Their coats scorched by plasma, their roars echoing like war drums. They defended every cadet who huddled behind them. Jared directed them with sharp whistles, guiding their fury into precision strikes. When the system was finally shut down and the drones fell silent, the training field was littered with wreckage. The cadets were shaken but alive, every single one of them, and they owed it to the predators. Ending. After that day, no one questioned Jared's choice again. The academy had intended Pet Day to foster companionship. They hadn't expected it to teach survival, loyalty, and the meaning of trust forged in the face of danger.